Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to Daily FX Analysis. It's Monday, guys, the big week as far as interest rate decisions are concerned. So we could well see some movement this week on the currency markets. Let's go. We're running a little bit late here, guys. Christmas party yesterday, so a bit of a slow start for me today. But here we go. December the 14th, always about the 13th today. So tomorrow we've got employment and unemployment figures coming out of the United Kingdom and consumer confidence out of Australia. Now, the UK, the pound's a little bit of a mix up at the minute, guys, because the Bank of England have sent so many conflicting signals over the last month or so that I'm not entirely sure where the pound's going, but I imagine it'll continue to weaken because Omicron's come along and kind of flipped their decision to start hiking rates. So until we get into the next quarter, I imagine it will stay that way. So probably negative on the pound, but we'll have a look at the charts in a moment. And then on the 15th, which then will be Wednesday, we've got core inflation and inflation out of the UK as well. Inflation and core inflation in Canada. And then retail sales, FOMC, economic projections, and FED, the Fed interest rate decision on, that's also on Wednesday. So that'll be interesting for the dollar, guys. I still think the dollar's got more upside to it on the higher time frame. Doesn't mean we'll not get drawdowns. I think we're actually in one at the minute. Haven't looked at the chart this morning yet, guys. And then GDP growth rate in New Zealand. At the moment, it looks like the Aussie New Zealand's going long, and I suspect that it will continue to go in that direction. And then 16th, which will be Thursday, then we've got employment, unemployment from Australia, Bank of England interest rate decision. We'll see what happens there, but I don't think they're going to move it. UK economy needs the liquidity to get it kick-started, guys. Remember, the UK still got a double whammy of Brexit to deal with and the COVID lockdowns, etc., on top of that. So I'm sure the UK needs liquidity, guys. But whether the Bank of England agrees with that or not, I don't know. ECB interest rate decision, ECB press comments. Don't think they're going to do anything there either, folks. And then United States market manufacturing PMI, often last thing on a Friday, guys. Remember, we're going into the last couple of weeks before Christmas, so the danger going over the Christmas period is that you get low volumes, and therefore you can get big moves based on low volumes, guys. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And then the 17th, which will be, I assume, Saturday, or is it? Let me just check that, guys. Okay, I thought it was out there somewhere, guys. 17th is Friday, which means Thursday is the Bank of England. Yeah, that would be usual. And then the Fed's on Wednesday. And then tomorrow we've got the employment. So that's the whole week. Into Friday there, guys. Bank of England, Bank of Japan interest rate decision. They'll not move that, I doubt they'll move that. And business climate in Germany, core inflation rate in the euro area, excuse me, folks. Okay, I think we're recording here, aren't we? We're recording, all right. Let's get on over to the charts. This will not be a long one today, guys, because I'm a little bit groggy at the minute. We've had silver move, pound against the Swiss and the yen. I can't remember which side of the equation to put those alarm lines. I suspect short, but we'll have to see. 3 US, New Zealand CAD, and Swedish krona. So, and then gold as well, guys. So gold and silver both gone off. Let's have a look and see which direction those were all moving in, because to be quite honest, I can't remember. As we're figuring, the yen's running flat, probably something along these lines, guys. We'll have to see if what the Bank of Japan says later in the week has any influence on the yen. It kind of looks like it wants to do that, guys. But given how that thing moves, I wouldn't be surprised if it continued to do that for a while later, and we could still see a leg down later on. Although I'm not claiming that at the minute. But if it started to move, then I wouldn't be surprised if we moved down into that area. It depends yet again on what's happening with the stock market. It seems to be the general feeling seems to be that the stock markets are going to continue to grow. Now, obviously, we may get corrections during that, but through next year, they're still looking for stock markets to continue to grow, push higher, with drawdowns obviously in between. But after that, then maybe as we go into later to the end of this year, or sorry, next year, maybe we start to see more of a corrective period. Which I hope's true. I mean, this is what I'm picking up from Bloomberg, guys, the different people they interview. And I hope that's true because at the minute I'm drawn down, and obviously would like to get those up into the green and then get stop losses in, which will protect me against any correction later in the year. But we need to get them into the green first. Okay. What I'm doing is buying the dip, guys. That's why I'm so heavily invested. I must be near 90% invested now, whereas the whole of the year we were running 50%. So we've put the extra money in, buying the dip on many stocks that have come way off their highs of earlier in the year. So then it's a case now of waiting for them to finish their drawdown and start to come long. That's the fingers crossed situation. Okay, so back to currencies. DXY, yep. Now, let's just have a closer look at this, guys. What we said over here was that this could drop down into this area as a correction of that impulsive move up, guys. Now, we did have this drawdown into there, so it is possible. And then during the week last week, we had the alarm in there, and I said, well, we could get that drawdown now. And I would have loved to have seen that, guys, because then this week I would have been saying, right, long the dollar. But we didn't get it. So the problem I have with that now is it still going to happen? Are we still waiting for that to happen? Or is it done and we're on the way back up to maybe a little double top? That sort of situation where this is a move down, we're getting a move up. Oh, sorry, I squiggled that a bit too much, but you understand what I'm saying there. Some sort of A, B, and then maybe we get a drawdown, C situation, then off we go again. Wouldn't be surprised if we got something like that. But generally speaking, I would be looking not to short the dollar, but rather to look for opportunities to trade it long. And then obviously your trading strategy has to be such that if you can get it away from zero, get your stops, get your stops in. But if you get it wrong, then you're going to have to give it a bit of room. Now, I'm not talking about trading the actual index, guys. I'm talking about whatever instrument you decide or whatever pair you decide to trade it against. You need to be wary that if you did get something like that you don't get yourself stopped out just as it decides to take off. So that's the little thing that's in the back of my mind. And the problem with that is that if you wait for that, you might miss the move because the move might come here. It could push on up, guys. So obviously it's down to each individual what risk they want to take on and where you want to put your stop losses and et cetera, et cetera. But I'll see. I'm not in it at the moment. I was in dollar CAD, and I think it stopped me out last week. And then Aussie Euro, I think I'm in. Yeah, that's the only one I have on at the moment, guys. Where is it? Oh yeah, Euro Aussie. There's it up there. and I've taken that short, but at the minute it's hanging around. But if the dollar goes long, I suspect the euro will weaken and we'll get that in. So we'll see. This is on a 4 hour, so I haven't got a stop loss in at the minute. But if it starts going too far, I might just knock it in the head. But we'll see. Okay, so for anyone who's new listening to this, up till the start of this year, I was 100% trading currencies, but I struggled last year with it because of just all the madness of COVID and the race to zero, guys, the race to interest rates to zero. So I got to the stage where I was kind of going, I don't really know what's happening with these. So I've knocked it in the head. But now that we're getting to the stage where banks are talking about starting to increase their interest rates, starting to cut back on bond buying, etc., tighten the money market, now we're starting to get clues as to where things should go. So with the fundamental information now, which is the reason why I'm getting back into it, but I'm not, fully back into it yet. Just dipping the toe in at the minute, guys. So euro dollar, I don't like how this structure is, but if DXY is going to eventually break that top and push on up, then euro dollar will break out of this and push short. If we were sitting there, I would be quite happy, which is basically the reverse of what I just said over here, guys. If we were sitting there, I'd be quite happy to trade it long. And in this situation, if we were sitting there, obviously the opposite way around, I'd be quite happy to trade that short. That doesn't mean that that's going to happen, guys. It could go from here. That's just where I'd be happiest getting involved in that trade. Pound, I think there's more downside to it. I have this target in. I think that came from Bloomberg. Someone mentioned 130, guys. That's what they were aiming for with the pound. But obviously, to get from here to there, do we get a pullback before we go, or do you just get in short there? I'm going to leave it alone, to be quite honest. Aussie, the Aussie's quite strong at the minute, guys. So we'd kind of copied that and said, if we got something like that, then from over here somewhere, maybe look to trade it down. We'll have to see how that's developing. I certainly wouldn't want to jump in there and try and trade that long. It's possible, it is possible that if we did get that, and of course I don't know that we're going to get that, but if we got that, how would that look on this chart? Well, then it would look like that, and then you'd be trying to trade it short from there, guys. So yet again, I wouldn't try and trade that long because I think it will falter and it will go. But if it does push up there, then at some point over the next couple of weeks, I'd probably be saying, right, let's look to see if we can draw this down. In the meantime, it could just go short. The same with this. If you get that pullback on the that pull down on DXY, you could see this go up before it drops, but I am looking for this to run further down. CAD, can't remember what I was doing with that. What were we doing with this? What's the oil price doing? See, it's pushing up there, which is the reason why that's pushing up, and why the dollar's, in that corrective phase. But if the dollar were to drop further, then obviously that would push up. But then I'm looking for the dollar to do that, which means that would go that way. No setup on it at the minute. I certainly don't want to try and trade that down. I was trading this long last week. Remember, we're on 4 hours here. And I think that stopped me out. Or close it. We were coming back down towards zero with it. and I just closed it out, guys. But you can see there, obviously, it was the wrong decision. But it got in here somewhere, and then we were doing okay. It flashed up and then started coming down again, and I just went, okay, I'm getting out of this. But it turns out it was the wrong decision, because that wouldn't have been a bad trade, particularly if there's another week or so of it pushing up before we get that. So at the minute, I'm out of it, folks. I'm making rash decisions with my currency trades at the minute, which is the reason why I'm not full into it. It will calm itself down, and I'm just so focused on stocks at the minute, guys. But once the stocks sort themselves out, then I'll focus more on this. But I'll continue to do these each day and give you my views off them. But when I say focus more on it, I mean from my personal trading point of view, guys. Yes, Swiss yet again. Maybe that if it dropped, it looks like it wants to push long here, guys. But it could get there, kind of like this, and then off it goes. I'd be happier trading it from down there. If we're in the 4 hour, we'll probably get a better view of that. Maybe it comes down into there again. Yet again, bringing it back to DXY, that would give us something like that before it goes. Remember, you're always looking for the thing that you would like to trade rather than trading what's in front of you, guys. Because if you trade what's in front of you, you'll get it wrong. You need to set the thing up. You need to say, well, if that happened, then I'll be happy to trade it. But from this position, I'm not sure if that's going to happen or the other thing's going to happen. And therefore, you have to wait, guys. And that's the big part about getting this thing right, is having the patience to set something up and then having the courage to take it whenever it does set up. Because often I don't do that, But I'm honest with you guys. If it takes something, I'll let you know. If I get it wrong, I'll let you know. If I get it right, I'll let you know. But I'll not make as big a deal about getting it right, because we learn nothing from getting it right. We only learn from getting things wrong, which is unfortunate, but that's the way life is. So yet again, if we got a bit of a drawdown on the dollar, it would give us a fib retracement of this. Maybe down into 38, maybe even 50. I don't know that necessarily would come down that far, because so far this is quite flat. But if we did get a leg down there, then that would be the place to look to trade that long. And remember, if you're already in it, then just put your stop loss to 0, guys, so you don't lose your money if you get it wrong. US yen, same thing, guys. It could well push from there, but I'd be happier from there. Let's just speed this up a little bit. Yeah, there's the gold's gone off, but it's still running flat, guys. The only reason that this will go long if there's a movement out of stocks. And at the moment, we've had a bit of a drawdown on growth stocks, etc. But I suspect money's going to go back into them again, which means that this will just continue potentially continue to drop down, guys. So I'm not going to jump into there unless I can see that the market's not happy and money's moving out of the stock market. But by all accounts, the stock market is still the place to have the money, guys. And if that changes, obviously I'll let you know. Let's take this off. We've got it in twice. Silver, yeah. Well, what I was looking at with this, yet again, there's that alarm going off, but it's not much to talk about, was that if this came down into this region, given there's a diagonal down here after a potential A, B, and then this diagonal is a C wave, if that were to break that bottom, then that would certainly be a place to buy some silver if that's what you want to do as a bit of a hedge. The difficulty we're having with that whole hedge story now is that with cryptocurrencies, is that the direction that a lot of the hedging is going to go? We don't know. That's not proven yet. But I think it's certainly having an effect on the gold and silver price. Bitcoin, yet again, guys, if it were to come down here, might be interested in it. I'm certainly not going to jump into it there. There's been a little bear market for the last couple of weeks. Maybe it's got a bit more down to it. And Ethereum's the same. Nothing's changed in there, guys. Oil, looking for oil to run flat for a little while. I think eventually it'll push up. And then euro, well, this is for me, always has to be the opposite of the dollar. Euro CAD, I don't know why I had that pushing up there, guys. But I don't know. Just leave it. Euro was, pardon me. Yeah, potential little running flat, and then it drops out the bottom. I've really only taken it because I want to try and force myself to get back into currency trading, guys. But I don't have a big take on that either. Euro New Zealand, potentially looking for that to drop. Look at the drop off there, guys. Ending diagonal. It started its way down. Is it a little zigzag? It's coming in. If you get into it and it runs, then you're into a good trade. If you get into it and you get your stop to zero, but turns and back up, you've lost nothing. Euro yen. Yeah, I'm not convinced by that either, folks. So I'll just take that off for now. It's okay not to know, guys. You can't lose money if you don't put it on. So your first line always has to be defense. And Euro Swiss, don't know yet. If something happens, we'll talk about it when it happens, guys. But at the moment, nothing's happening there. Pound dollar, pound CAD, it's pulling back up. I'm wondering, and I was saying this last week, I'm wondering if we're going to get something like this, folks. I'm not in it, and I'm not saying to get into it at the moment. It is pushing long at the moment, but let's give it a little bit of time to develop. Because I want to try and trade the pound short, and that's why I'm not saying get into that long. Pound Oz, that's another one I think may well go short, guys, particularly if the Bank of England pulls back on their whole idea of increasing interest rates, which seems to be what they're saying. Pound New Zealand, it's going to be the same thing, isn't it? Take that from up there and put it over there, and we'll see if we get a zigzag in there. Pound Swiss, let's see. If we get a whole load of those going off, then I'll potentially take a trade there. Pound Euro, are we looking for something like that? Pound Yen, I don't know, guys. Just for the minute, just leave the pound alone. Aussie Yen, well, potentially long there. Aussie New Zealand, yet again, potentially long there. I did say the other day, look for, and you see, this is something that I want to point out. Let's put this to the, and I know I'm always teaching in here, guys. Most of you come just to, back up your own decisions. Do I agree with you? Don't agree with you, which is fine. But I do need to give some instruction to anyone that's new that comes along. Someday I might actually get a lot of people listening to me. Just got to keep doing it. The reason I keep doing it, guys, is because I do this anyway for myself. And this forces me to do it, which is the reason I do it. If I was doing it to get, hundreds of people viewing it every day, it would probably have to be a little bit more, remember to like and share and blah. But we'll see. You can tell I'm not on it today, guys. Aussie New Zealand, I think this will go long, but as it broke out the other day, it was very tempting to get involved in it. But I had said, listen, I would have to see some sort of drawdown of that move before I would get into it, because if you get in there, you're going to end up getting drawn down. So if you did get in there anywhere, you're either going to be zero, and with your fees, you're probably negative at the minute. Can it go long from here? It can, but I'd prefer to see a bit more of a drawdown. I don't know if you're going to get it, guys, but if you got it, then for me, it'd be a setup to try and trade it long. Aussie Swiss, Same thing. It's tapering off, guys. Look at this. I still think it's going to go long, but I wouldn't be surprised if you got a drawdown first. And if you got that, I'd be happy to consider trading that long. Aussie CAD. I never know about this one, guys. I don't really think, I can't ever remember trading it because I don't ever really have an angle on it. It would just be pure technical trading, and I don't like pure technical trading, guys. You always like to have some sort of fundamental backup to as to why you're picking a certain direction, and I don't have that for that pair. I could probably find it if I did the work, but I've so much to keep an eye on every day, guys. You just go over to Stockwatch, and obviously I've all this to keep an eye on as well. So you can understand why some of the currency pairs, will just leave them alone. Sorry, where were we? Oh yeah, watch list. That's okay. Swiss yen. I'd love to trade this long, folks, but I'd prefer to see a downside to this first. And CAD Swiss, another one I would like to trade long. That could well be a nice setup there. But what I will do with this is I'd wait for that alarm to go off and then potentially take a trade long, stop there or there, depending on what way you're, what trading strategy you have, and try and trade that up. Now, I have a pretty good record with CAD Swiss. Well, it's 100%. But the reason it's 100% because fundamentally at the time I was trading it, I more or less knew it was going to go long, which was because of this. It was oversold. That was the pandemic, and the CAD had only one place to go from there, guys, and it was long. So all through here, we were jumping in and out and in and out, and sometimes we had to wait quite a while, but we got 100% there and then closed out the last trade there and missed the impulse, which is part of the game, guys. If I had left the last one on, we would have got a nice run up there. But we were trading for this, for a continuation of this, guys. So goes up, take your profit, wait till it drops, buy in, goes up, take your profit, wait till it drops, which is basically what was going on here. And even through here, it was the same thing. Every time it dropped back, drops back, drops back. But then when it broke out of there, well, that strategy had to then change. And, I didn't trade it up there. And I haven't traded it since, because since then I wasn't sure. That was nailed on, the CAD's going long. And since then it hasn't been so clear. But it's in some sort of flat at the minute. You could potentially do that, but it looks more flat as opposed to a zigzag. So the whole structure, it looks flat. It came down into the bottom of it. We've had a nice impulse up. We're getting a correction of that. Next move could be there. And then down the line, as oil prices push on up, as the world economy starts to open up again, do we see the CAD pushing long? Going back to before, look at how it ran back there, guys. And at this point, we were trying to trade it long. Trade long, trade long, trade long. And as we get into here, we were looking for it to go long. Then we got the pandemic, guys. And that was exciting. So we're kind of back up into this. So it's going to continue to do that. Now, we don't know, is it going to run along here, or is it going to come up a bit more and run along there? But for me, looking at this, unless there's some big reason why that's not going to continue, then when it drops, be patient, trade it long. When it gets up here, take your profit. When it drops again, So then why don't you trade it down? Well, the problem is that if you then try and trade it down from up there and you get it wrong and it keeps going as it did here, then you're in a world of trouble. That's why from here we were just trading it long, trade it long, trade it long, trade it long, and then you get the breakout. And if you're lucky enough to have stayed in it there and not taking your profit on that one, which I did, then you will get a really nice trade right up there, guys. Remember, this is on a daily time scale. That was a really nice trade. So something potentially similar to that now as we're down into the bottom area here. And obviously stop losses, guys. If it goes wrong, then you've covered yourself. But the deeper this would go, for me, the more upside there would be to it. So I'm kind of starting to form an opinion of the CAD Swiss, and it'll be similar with this, although this is pushed on up a little bit further. It's kind of at the top there, folks. And therefore I'm a little bit more wary of trying to trade that that further up. The chart's just looks a little bit different to the Swiss chart. There's potentially a flat in there. Does that mean it's going to come back down to here? I wouldn't like to try and trade that, but I'm a little bit more wary of this one. If we take it back down to the 4 hours, yet again, impulse correction. Are we going to get a breakout? But then I would only be trading to there. I wouldn't be trying to trade it up there. Can it do that? Well, possibly it can. But, there's plenty of pips between there and there, guys. New Zealand yen. Yeah. Ending diagonal impulse correction. Let's look at it in a 1 hour. So really I need to be taking this from there and bringing it down to there. And then you're saying to yourself, well, are we going to get something like that? Maybe if it comes a little bit deeper, it'd be more attractive. You got a downside to that. New Zealand CAD. Yeah, same attitude with this as the Aussie CAD. I don't know. Commodity-based currencies, guys, so don't really want to trade them against each other. And then New Zealand Swiss, for me, the same thing, particularly if the stock market's going to continue to grow, then there's no reason for a rush to safety. So potentially that was the big rush to safety, and now the markets are recovering. What could throw this out? Well, if Omicron became a major problem, then you might see a move into safety, and then you would see that go. But so far, Omicron doesn't seem to be the big deal that it potentially was. Yes, it's going to cause problems, but it's not going to lock down our economies the way that the first wave did, guys. Okay, that will do for today. I'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.